Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. It's great. We live in a world where we've got tremendous technology that we can reach the globe all at once. I'm Brian Kalish. I will be your interviewer moderator today. The topic that we have is Hyperbots Invoice Processing Copilot. We're very fortunate today to have Dave Sackett joining with us. Again, David, thank you so much for joining us. Just as a bit of background, I'm Brian Kalish. I've been involved in FP&A and in finance and investor relations and treasury for the past 30 years. I've been working with Hyperbots for the last 2 years. Dave, if I may do an introduction of yourself, is a finance leader with expertise in AI, ERP systems, operational finance. He currently serves as the vice president of finance at Persimmon Technology, has held a number of senior roles at companies such as ULVAC Technologies, Visibility Corporation, Nova Biotechnical. In addition to his corporate roles, he also has co-founded AI One and advises multiple AI-focused organizations. So, Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for the introduction.
So today, our audience really wants to understand how Hyperbots Invoice Processing Copilot is redefining, month-end processes for financial teams. So with that, let's really kind of jump into it. The first question that I was kind of thinking about, Dave, is what challenges still haunt invoice processing? I mean, just to share a little bit of what I'm hearing is, challenges in invoice processing include inaccurate invoices, late and delayed payments, time-consuming manual processes, scalability issues, and back office or really accounting systems integration. What's really important is what are you seeing?
Yeah, so those, are pretty common. We also have price differences on POs. We have three-way matching where something may not be received or on the incorrect line. Yeah, issues with, not including things, overbilling, underbilling, so many things that you would have to have someone really focused in AP to make sure we didn't post the wrong information or paid someone who we shouldn't have paid.
So, kind of right to the gist of it, how does Hyperbots Invoice Processing AI Copilot really work? And if, from really an end-to-end perspective.
Yep. So what we're doing is like a robotic process automation with AI supporting it, meaning we'll have invoices sent from an email address to Hyperbots. That AI technology is going to read that invoice, look at our system, match it up, make sure that everything's accounted for, making sure that we're taking discounts if we have to, doing all that checking like a bot would, making sure it follows our policy, making sure it's looking for that receipt, it's looking for the matching, making sure the price is right, making sure the PO is correct, and then, putting it into Hyperbots as if it was a person typing in an invoice. And then it's up to us now to go in and see what Hyperbots did and say, okay, did it do it correctly? What do we have to change? Is there an exception? And, going through this process, we're teaching Hyperbots, our agent, what our invoices look like, how they, will pull data. And, over time, as we use this tool, it'll be more efficient and streamline it so that we don't have that double check. It just happens. And invoices just get pushed right into the system.
Great. I mean, I can see so many benefits from this. I mean, what hard benefits have you been able to measure?
So time. And when I look at the ROI on what we're doing, just the overall replacement of a person. So we used to have two people on accounts payable. Once one person got terminated, I had an option: hire a person or use technology. So by jumping to technology to do all that data entry that a person was doing, I can do that much cheaper with Hyperbots, pay as you go, versus paying someone's salary to do that same exact thing. And the beauty of it is that now when we scale and grow and I have more and more accounts payable to process, that's going to be technology taking up that slack, not hiring more headcount or bodies in my department.
Oh, and we really see that across the board. And again, curious in the current situation, is the person happier? Because I would assume a lot of this, what I would consider low IQ activities, are off their plate so that they can actually spend their time more efficiently and effectively.
Yes. So our accounts payable supervisor has a very busy role generally. And to have her time keying in manual invoices like doesn't make sense. So she's excited that now a bot will be doing that work and she'll be more managing the bot's output and solving problems and also and being that communication on the human side of AP. So she's excited for it.
Excellent. The other comment that I get all the time is the fact that and you commented on it, which is really what we're talking about is what I call an electronic employee, right? And so
Yes.
when you think about I don't know if you've seen this or you've dealt with the issue, but like from security, people are like, oh, well, what about from a security perspective? And I'm always like, well, do you have a human doing it today?
Right. No,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
You have to onboard employees. You have to make sure that they follow rules and they don't go to where they're not supposed to go. Same thing with Hyperbots in terms of an agent that we're using to do this same data entry function that happens all electronically. So it's very much the same thing. You need to make sure that when you're onboarding Hyperbots that you've got an eye on cybersecurity, on company policy, because it is really like having a digital employee now contributing to the finance department.
and if I may, without having HR issues.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they can work 24/7. No, they don't have sick days. So yeah, no fights with other departments. So a lot of headaches go away.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't know if this is a fair question, but what single capability has unlocked the most value from your perspective?
Just from a pure data entry, pushing through that automated invoice system. So being able to take any invoice that gets invoiced to a specific email address and then pushing that from the bot right into our ERP system saves a ton of time and as well as accuracy. Like there's no miskeys and there's no missing freight on an invoice. Like the bot can be very thorough and really categorize that invoice and take advantage of even like 2% net 10 or any other kind of payment terms that other people, it's just not on their radar. But you program the bot to have all the rules. So it's constantly looking for being compliant with whatever rules you assign it.
Yeah, it's by definition it is compliant, right? Because it
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah. It
To
doesn't
your
choose
point, it
not
doesn't
to
have a
work.
bad
Right.
day. Yeah, it doesn't have a
Yes.
bad day and misses things, right? It's like
Right.
and again, it's that whole idea that it's some people would say it additive. I think it's multiplicative by adding agents because
Right.
again, this work gets done and the rework, right? I mean, again, going
Right.
back and finding problems that humans did, for the most part, is now eliminated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've seen with Hyperbots is this, dynamic GL coding. I don't know if you've been involved with it too much, but to the extent you have, how reliable have you found that to be?
Very reliable. Yeah, it's just data. It's that they're assigned to picking it up off the PO, our purchase orders. So we're very much purchase order driven as a manufacturer. So from that account number structure, like it's very seamless in terms of going into the right GL account.
Great. If I may, touch on another function is, the autonomous exception, which is interesting, right? Because we're moving from automated to autonomous, right? In finance,
Mm-hmm.
Gartner should give me a commission for that statement. But so how does autonomous exception handling actually reduce the workload?
Yeah, the bot takes it on. It's got goals. It wants to process everything it gets. It can take action. It can push into the ERP system if everything's fine. It can then, if something's not fine, put it to, waiting to be reviewed spot in Hyperbots. So there's so much more kind of intelligence built into processing AP that didn't exist before, or at least not in my solutions, that we're taking advantage of.
So, kind of touching, we made reference to people, being concerned. I mean, new technology,
Mm-hmm.
again, I have my opinions. Feel free to push back. In finance, we're small c conservatives, right? And so technology is a little scary for us. You and I think, if I may be so bold, is we're
Yeah.
finance people that know a little bit about technology, but we realize that's not our strength. So again, I think there's always just going to be, a concern about, as we're the fiscal officers of the organization. What have you seen? What safeguards exist for errors and outages?
A safeguard that we have in place is that the human review. We are ultimately, we have to be the certifiers of the truth. So we have to review everything Hyperbots does, at least at this point, to make sure things are going where they're supposed to, everything's accounted for. We're right now we're still in the implementation phase. So I'm going to expect over time to just give the bot way more freedom to push it in just like a normal employee would, and that's the goal for what I have. And in terms of like automation, my very first job out of college was a cash accountant, and they handed me a ledger book. Here you go, Dave. Uh, Here's your pen. Keep track of
Little
daily
green
cash
shade.
use you keep track of daily cash with this book. And I'm like, I just graduated college. We used Lotus 123. I could make this a spreadsheet and we're golden. So like my whole career has been trying to take something that was done manually and automating it. So automating it using Excel, using Hyperbots, like my whole idea is to try to streamline and do things more faster, more efficient, and a better way leveraging technology. So I've done it kind of my whole career and had success with technology, and that's kind of where I am today. I'm a blend between maybe a technology person and a finance person.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to be. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what's changed, right? You really
right.
can't do the job. Although I have to, I'll date myself. This may have been even before you.
Mm,
My first version of Lotus 123, we double loaded. It was dual drive with 5 1/4s, and you do your work, and then you'd pull it off. So yeah, but we
yeah,
looked like geniuses. To your point, the first job I
right.
had, it was very much similar, right? And I do see that progression, right? And where we
Hmm.
are now when we're talking about with hyperbots and agentic AI. I mean, there was a point where you go, okay, how many times am I doing these strokes that I need to build the macro, right? So there's an investment,
Right.
but with a much greater ROI on the backside. Then we got into RPA. Now, I think we're really at that point where, and I'm a huge believer. I'm way out the curve.
Hmm.
That
Right.
I think we're living in the industrial revolution in real time. Like this 30-year battle that we've had, that our folks spend 80% of their time on data acquisition, verification, and reconciliation, 20% of the time on the analysis. I think we can turn
Hmm.
that paradigm on its head. I really
I
do.
agree. No, and I'm 100% in agreement with that, especially with agentic AI, where now you've got agents that can do so much more than simple machine learning.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And again, it's why I think, in all honesty, like having sessions like this are important, because the way I put it is the Office of Finance, we already work 26 hours a day, 8 days a week, 60 weeks a year. And we have to know technology now, because
Right.
AI is, I'm sorry, yeah, IT is not going to come to us with these solutions because they don't know the problems we're trying to solve for. So
Mhm.
we need to be the champions. If we want to make our world better, we have to, spend the capital and make it better.
Agreed. And especially people in finance, we have certain pain points. In me, it's hammering in accounts payable manually. Doesn't have to happen, doesn't have to be. So
Right.
I knew there was another alternative out there. So I was motivated in finance. We have to make this upgrade. It's probably not on anyone else's radar because it's not affecting them, but it is affecting my department's productivity.
Efficiency, enjoy,
Yeah.
even in enjoyment, right? I mean,
Yes.
just I know I would be very keen, to be coming into an organization that's leveraging agentic AI to solve these
Yes.
problems, that you go, okay, rather than, like you said, I mean, you're going to be, checking Excel spreadsheets,
Yep.
just from a, a drawing talent perspective. I know you mentioned
Agreed.
you're in the integration. How has that gone so far? So, I mean, the way I kind of think, I had originally thought, like how quick was the ERP integration? I don't know if you're through
Mhm.
that point yet or not, or just how the process has been so far.
No, the process has been good. Everything's kind of methodical, going to plan. Everything's mapped out. Getting our IT people involved to make sure we could do the APIs to connect Hyperbots, and we have an on-premise ERP, so
Oh,
they're a cloud system. So going from cloud to on-prem ERP is squared away. They've got demo accounts. They're our test database, and both sides, Hyperbots and the Persimmon side, have been putting time and effort into it to make this project go forward. And yeah, I'm thrilled with the progress that we've made and how it's working so far.
that's great. So you went through, I mean, again, making assumptions, right? So
Yeah.
obviously there was a process that you went through as far as evaluating potential AP tools. how, I mean, at the end of the day, if you went with Hyperbots, the big
Yep.
question I think for the audience is why?
Yep. Yeah. A couple major points in terms of why I picked Hyperbots. One, I have to like the people I do business with. So it doesn't matter if you're some big company that has a great solution, but I'm just a number to you. I'm not interested. People that can show me, hey, we're going to be your partner. We're not just a supplier. We're going to actually work with you and help you make your business better. So it's that personal relationship with Hyperbots and the people. Second, it's the cost from my finance hat now. Like, is this a crazy dollar situation? No, it's not. It's very affordable and it's pay as you go. So if I only have the bot working a little bit, I'm only paying transactionally a little bit. I've been involved in other RPA implementations where they wanted a huge upfront cost. And
Yeah,
then not only that upfront cost, but now you've got maintenance on top of that. So from an ROI point of view, it's much longer and more cash outlay in kind of that traditional model that I'm used to. And that's what I find attractive about Hyperbots is that if your bot's only doing a little bit of work, then you're only paying a little bit. If you now have to grow 3 times and now you're swamping the bot with work, well, now you're paying more, but that's still way less than having to hire all new people to do it.
right.
So from a scaling point of view, I know my company's growing and we're going to have more and more transactions. So it's only natural now to get in at this stage, introduce Hyperbots that can now grow with us. So we'll take on more functionality, we'll have the bot doing more and more transactions and really leveraging the technology to gain productivity and efficiency.
Yeah, I mean the number I kind of hear is about about 80%, right? That's kind of what
Mhm.
it's almost it's the old Pareto rule, right? It's the
Right,
answer to every question is always 80%. But
right.
it seems that but I think that's important for people to understand is that you know you're not going to just have this. I mean, again, if we keep it in the context of an employee, you don't have an employee that
Mhm.
knows everything, right? But if
Right.
they know 80% of it, then like you were saying, the structure you have, then that 20% that it can't handle straight through gets kicked up. And just from
Mhm.
an efficiency and effective perspective, I've got to think that's tremendous.
It is because yeah, your regular people will make mistakes, no problem. A bot will too, and the more that the bot sees the invoice, processes it, we train it exactly. Oh, you missed this. This is how we do this one. This is how we do that one. Any of those exceptions, we can now train the bot to not have them next time. So they're continuously learning, just like an employee would learn to do their job better. Same with AI. Same with Hyperbots. So it's that going through and really working with the tool to try to maximize what a bot can do versus something that gets put into exceptions.
Yeah, I mean, as we get ready to close here, the only thing I would add to that is that remembering when we teach a human, then the human knows. When we teach AI, then all the bots know, right? I mean, that's
Right.
that's pretty
Mhm.
powerful.
It is.
So I didn't know if you had a thought on that.
Yeah. As we roll out other bots, we've already got that linkage now between Hyperbots and our ERP system, Epicor. So there's
Right.
access to the data. So now
Right.
if I need to branch out and other people in my company need to use AI with their data that it's in Epicor, that link is there, that
Yeah.
solution is there for the taking. And so now rolling that out will be easy because I already have a vendor I trust. I've got this solution already proven in accounts payable that it works. And so
Yeah.
now to introduce it to other departments, now everyone's leveraging this solution that's efficient and affordable.
That's really incredible. Well, I mean, your experience really shows why the market, as we were talking, is really shifting from what we would call in a pre-pandemic world. That's where I kind of call
Yeah.
what time is for me when we were talking so much about automation to an environment that's truly leveraging agentic AI. So really, Dave, thank you so much for sharing your insights on Hyperbots invoice processing copilot. Again, thank you to the audience and wishing everyone a good rest of your day.